Welcome to the Yara Technologies Vodcast series. Through this program, we bring short conversations with senior educators on contemporary topics related to education and education technology.
Welcome to Yara Technologies Podcast series. I am Shara Osman. Through this program, we bring short conversations with senior educators in the preschool segment on contemporary topics related to education. Today, on behalf of Yara Technology, I am delighted to have the directors of CeeBees on our Vodcast program. Mrs. Fazeela Dharmarathna is the director of CeeBees Preschool and Childcare Center. After 17 years in banking segment in 2013, she decided to move to the education sector segment and along with her husband to step up her preschool and childcare centers. She is very passionate on the topics holistic childcare, work-life balance, and meeting family commitments. As an educator, her academic career is built on these fundamentals. Good afternoon, Ms. Fazeela. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much, Ms. Fazeela, for this program. So, during this pandemic era, the main challenge was to make the child sit down in front of the smart device and to make the child concentrate on what the teacher is presenting online. This has been the biggest obstacle on online learning. However, some schools manage to overcome this situation successfully and retain the child. What are your views on this? And in order to have a successful online class, what is the role of a parent and how do you involve parents in online learning?
Thank you, Shara. Yeah, it's a very relevant question and something that, last year when the pandemic hit us, that not only the children, not only the parents, but we as educators as well had a huge challenge to adapt to this new environment, and it wasn't easy. But right now, definitely it has kind of set in as the new norm, so to speak. So my first message to the parents in answer to your question is, parents, you are definitely not alone, right? Everybody's facing. Stress yourself too much on it, and we could only evolve and we could improve step by step. But something you need to understand, parents, is that this pandemic has shown us that technology is here to stay. So whatever our beliefs, our opinions of technology and children, right now we are forced to adapt it, but adapt it in a good way, in a controlled manner, in a manner in which it would benefit the child, right? I mean, we speak so much about screen time and how unhealthy it is and all that. But now we are forced to give our devices to children because there's no option. So this is a critical time where you need to make technology a part of learning and have it in a more controlled environment so that it won't get out of hand. So parents, do not feel guilty at all, and if you feel that you're not aiding your child successfully or not alone in it, it's not easy, because the whole early childhood program curriculum is designed on a sensorial aspect. It's on social skills, it's on touching, feeling, smiling, hugging, cuddling. We don't have any of this online, right? So it is a challenge, and we can only work together, learn from each other, learn what works, what didn't work, and move forward, right? So it's not an ideal setting, but at the same time, it's a setting that we now, we need to adapt positively, because it's important for the child to keep somewhat in touch with the age appropriate activities so that when they make that transition to physical classes, it's not going to be too overwhelming, because the child will be used to some faces, will be used to the teacher, will be used to the name. So there will be some kind of familiarity when you are actually, when maybe hopefully sooner than later we get to do physical classes, right? So it takes a bit of time to getting used to, but definitely you will get there, right? So on question on how we have overcome certain challenges is, number one is, and also Shara, you asked how to get the parent involved, right? So I will answer that first. One thing we've learned is parents need guidance as well, you know, on do's and don'ts and what they need to do. So something we did, and this is also through learning, not that we were perfect in the start also, is give a list of things that in your lesson plans that now some schools have actually sent activity packs to the parents. If that is done, then that's fantastic. But we have limitations in delivery and things like that with the pandemic. So if you are unable to send the packs, then you need to guide the parents in giving them a list of things that they would need to collect, list of stationery items that they might need in handy, you know, so that every time we send a lesson plan, that they don't have to keep, you know, running to the store or to the bookshop. So, you know, you could maybe on a monthly basis look at your lesson plans and tell parents, these are the things you need to have ready so that you're well prepared. Then as educators, we need to send those lesson plans on time. Say your, you know, next week's Zoom lessons, what do you need from that end? You can't send it the day before. I mean, this is things that parents have given us feedback, and we also have realized that there were shortcomings on our part as well. But these are corrections we have made to the plans, because now we try to send as early as possible and send it to the whole week, so that parents have enough time, you know, to prepare and have that lesson material ready, right? So that's one thing. Then the other thing a parent needs to positively get involved is the routine. Now, if you know the time of your Zoom class, then the positive vibes have to come from the parents' side. It has to be kind of like a looked forward to event. Like, you know, so say for instance, the child, most of the children absolutely love their class teacher, right? So that's, say it's Auntie Shara, right? So you can talk about it a little bit. Okay, tomorrow we are going to see Auntie Shara, we are going to see your friends. So tomorrow 10 o'clock, you know, you're going to wake up. And some parents even make them dress in their school shoes, or, you know, maybe like a special dress saying you're going to school. Some even try to put their backpack and come to the, you know, seat. So it's all positive vibes, and the child feels it, that interest that the parent would show at home definitely would, those vibes will move on to the child. So no matter how small they are, they feel it, they look forward to it. So the parent can help the process by, you know, spreading that positive vibes and being well prepared and talking about the friends, talking about how, you know, okay, you're going to see your friends today, right? So that if you keep doing this, you will find the child, no sooner you're logged out, will ask, when am I going to see them again? You know, so that's how a parent can, you know, kind of get involved. Then something that really worked for us is, you know, Zoom is time critical, in the sense we have to schedule a meeting. Everybody has to be available. Unfortunately, especially in my school, we are catering 90% to working parents, right? Most of the children enrolled at our center is on a full day program. So this is a huge challenge, because the parents are working from home. They are having critical meetings during that time. And, you know, so whilst they would definitely like to be with the child during the Zoom lessons, it's sometimes a near impossible task. And these days, because of the pandemic, parents are also reluctant to get the grandparents involved because, you know, due to exposure, they are scared because their health is of great importance too. So for these reasons, not only can you parents are not able to join the scheduled Zoom lessons consistently, right? So as educators, what we've done, what we try to do is we try to schedule it at a time that is convenient to parents. You know, majority will join in the morning, but is there a group that will be you know, supported by having evening lessons, you know, that kind of thing. So that's very important that we try as much as possible, and that the parents also give feedback to the educators on what times exactly will it work. But failing which, we've given guidance notes. We do video clips, right? Like the class teacher does video clips and sends it to the parents to do the lessons at a time that is convenient for them, right? So then the parents, so like say for example, it's a letter formation, the teacher would be guiding. It's not a YouTube clip or anything like that. The teacher, the child hears the teacher's voice, right? So then there is some you know, connection there, some sentimental connection there. More than that, it's also educational to the parent. Then the parent has the guidance note also. So the parent takes a dual role there. It's Amma plus the teacher. But the parent feels more comfortable because the guidance is given by the school. So how to hold the pencil, how to, you know, do the formation of the letter, all that is guided on notes. So when it comes to online learning, it's not only Zoom, it's not only real-time learning, it's a combination of so many solutions that we need to look for. So now, and also in terms of involving parent, we do a lot of parent involved activities like, you know, say for now these days it's Vesak. When you're doing the Vesak edition, obviously the parent is involved, the mother is involved, the father is involved, the siblings are involved in making that lantern. So it's quality time. It's definitely time that is well spent, that 40 minutes. So then we do involve very frequently things where obviously the parent is involved, something, you know, that they would both work in. So then this becomes not only an online lesson, it becomes a family bonding as well, you know. So and all this is the parent is made well prepared in advance, right? I'll move on to your other question in what do we do to keep the attention going, right? Now remember, Shara, all what I said before applies, that you're prepared, that you have logged in on time, and it's very important that the child is present for, you know, what we call the circle time, when we take, you know, when we introduce the children who are in the class, say your highs, byes, how have you been, how have your weekend been, how was your day, that kind of thing, that helps to break the ice. And then when we do move on to lessons, you have to expect the unexpected, right? So so if you're one important thing is constantly addressing the child, constantly making sure that the child knows that the teacher is with you, you know, not as a command or anything like that, but, you know, say, hi, you know, darling, you're doing that, are you okay, you know, then it would generate some kind of response. So constantly you need to keep talking to the children. So what we do very often is we have at least 2 teachers in the lesson, where for the smaller ones, old age groups, of course, they are used to it, 1 teacher can handle it. But for the younger age groups, there are at least 2 where one would focus on the lesson. Duty of the other teacher is to, you know, watch the children and quickly, you know, read out or call out the names if you see a distraction or anything like that. Then also when you're doing lessons for the younger stage groups, you need to be able to move away from your set lesson plan, because suddenly if you feel there is too much distraction, you might want to say, let's take a break. Let's talk about your favorite thing. What is your favorite thing that you see on your, in your hall or in your table now? Then, suddenly the interest is diverted back to what the child wants, right? So remember, these are not, as if you're doing scholarship for O-levels or A-levels. It's to have that engagement. That is the main thing here. And in the process, if we can impart with at least say 50% of, the curriculum based learning, then I think we have achieved a good milestone there. So, and your lessons, the lesson has to include, fun activities like a game, or say, like say you're doing a color exercise, right? And suddenly saying, bring me all the 3 things that you see in red. What happens there is, then the child is at your PC anymore. Suddenly wants to get out of the chair and grab the red things along, and bring it back. So there's physical activity there also, because you can't expect the children to sit in one place and stay for that attention span of 40 minutes. So you have to be ready with activities like that would spontaneously break the the routine and bring them back into your side by doing little things like this. And then we tell the parents, have their favorite, like a little reward, right, for sitting, doing your part of it. Like maybe a favorite candy, or I'm not promoting sweets or anything like that, but something very small that would say, okay, see, you've been a good girl or a good boy and you're getting this reward, today. So, and while the teacher from the other end will show the stars and the smileys and things for being, such a engaged class. So, whether you are engaged or not, the child will get the smiley and the stars. So these are little things that the parent and the educator can do. And of course, for the educators, some of the early childhood lessons are really interesting if you could record them, because, there are sometimes on their, chairs, they're dancing, they are, if say it's a story time, they are acting, they have props with them, they are dressed up for the role, right? So you can't just sit like, how I'm here now. If I'm talking to a child, then that attention has to be there. It has to be interesting. Why you do this at the screen on YouTube and all that for so long? Because there's so much of glamour and color and, movement in those clips. So that, to a certain extent, even with lots of restrictions the teachers may have in their environment, we encourage our educators to do the maximum possible to go down to the level of the child. So it could be the manner in which they are dressed, it could be the props that they have for the lesson, right? It could be some audio tracks you have for the lesson. So that you need to be equipped and be prepared and learn from other teachers and share best practices and learn and keep evolving. Right, I'm saying all this, we didn't have it easy at all in the start. It was, not only getting the children, it was also training ourselves to move on, to this very unexpected era of doing, online lessons. But it is evolving, and I think many schools have risen to the occasion, and now the kids, it's amazing that there are toddlers who would sit through a lesson, who is looking forward to the lesson. There are positive stories. So parents, my message to the parents is, don't give up. If your child sits through 15 minutes of the first lesson, then that's a big achievement. It will improve. But the main thing you can help your child and the educators is not to give up. The second time the child runs through, don't think, oh, this is not going to work out. Keep trying, right? And you can do the same thing with your child. You can have a call, with the little one, to kind of emulate this process a little, because all these children now, especially our 4-year-olds and the 5-year-olds, there are children who really sits through, and some are so independent that some of the things they can do on their own as well. So this is learning from last year, right? So I hope, Shara, that I've answered your questions. Please do ask me if any area has not been clear, or if I have missed out on answering any.
Thank you so much, Ms. Fazeela. Now let's talk about CeeBees, as I'm sure our audience would love to hear about your preschool.
So yeah, so CeeBees came under my purview in 2013. It was a business that I bought over after I ended my 17-year-old banking career, which I took that step because I really did want to venture out on my own, especially because of my vision, plus also to have more flexibility to meet my family commitments. So my chosen avenue is early childhood education and childcare. Main reason for me to feel passionate about this is the fact that I've been a working mom for so long, and having understood the struggles and the demands when one wants to do both your job and your role in your family perfectly, it's very challenging. So this is where, it wasn't merely early childhood education that I wanted to focus on. My passion was to give a fully fledged childcare solution, which also address the academic part of it. So that's where my passion is, because I know there is lots of pressure at some point in anybody's life. Right now, it's not only confined to the moms; it applies to dads too. Whether you make a change in your job role, or your field, or your sector, because of family commitments. So to those parents, what we at CeeBees want to do is to make that decision slightly more easier, by saying, yes, you do have another option, right? You look at childcare. I know there are lots of perceptions about daycares and things like that. Make your own judgment, evaluate, do your research, but there is that option. And we at CeeBees, what we want to do is to make it very, very convenient for the parents. So we offer fully fledged service, like we give the meals, we facilitate real-time CCTV access, so that parents are comfortable and we feel comfortable knowing that there's nothing hidden. What you see is what you get. Parents know exactly how we run our routine. Parents are able to give us feedback on where we can improve, share their views, because there's nothing to hide. So it's a very, very open, very family-like, very personalized relationship that we want to have with the parents in bringing up the children. And in terms of even the meals, we send the menus at the beginning of the month, so that parents know exactly what they are having for breakfast, what they are having for lunch. These meals are prepared in-house under our supervision. And even our preschool program is somewhat, it could be different to others, in the sense that majority of the children are spending long hours in our premises. So there are little bit of deviations from a normal program that we would apply to our program, considering the mentality and the well-being of the child. So our preschool, our curriculum is a mix of preschool and AMI. That has really worked for us to get the best of both worlds. And we have, we encourage diversity. We encourage inclusive environment in our schools. values play a big role in our agenda, right? We want the main focus for us, apart from, the reading and the writing, is to prepare the child very gradually, without too much pressure on them, very a very gradual manner, make that transition to the bigger challenge of going to big school easier for the child and for the parent, by making them independent, making them good communicators, making them self-confident, and making them overall kind and caring children who would be an asset in that grade 1 class at one point, and helping them adapt to that environment without too much trouble. That is, our main passion and main objective. So yeah, I hope I've covered that.
Yes, thank you so much. Well, I would like to thank Ms. Fazeela for participating in our podcast today, an insightful discussion. Thank you so much, Ms. Fazeela.
Thank you very much for your invite, Shara. This is not something I do very often, but you were convincing. So I hope what we discussed is of value. And once again, thank you to your team and to Yara Technologies for inviting me today and for the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Yara Technologies' EdTech platform Talkative Parents connects schools, educators, parents and students via one integrated platform. The platform comprises of cross-channel communication, AI-driven data analytics, integrated e-learning, and online school fee payments. You can visit our website or social media pages for more information.